Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Peace and blessings be upon every single one of you. My name is Big Akar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. Today, I want to be going ahead and speak about something that me and an individual in my last video were talking about in my comment section. He was trying to tell me that Jesus Christ is in the Bible being worshipped multiple times, and he's showing me that Jesus being worshipped proves that he is God. And I deny this fact, and I tell him, no, show me where that Jesus is being worshipped. And he provides me with 3 quotes, quoting directly that Jesus Christ was being worshipped, right? Now, this was the English translation of this. I know there are many different Bibles, over 200 plus different standardized versions of the Bible translated from Greek to English. But I want to go ahead and study the Greek here and understand the root word that is being used for worship and understand if different Bibles or different things have a different word than worship here in their transliterary format. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the verses he went ahead and quoted. He said that Jesus was worshipped here in Matthew 2:11, Matthew 14:33, and Matthew 28:9, correct? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those verses. The first verse we're going to go ahead and take a look at is 2:11 here. We are on BibleGateway.com. This is the #1 Bible website online. It goes ahead and allows us to switch between the different versions of the Bible, the different standardized versions of the Bible. And this is going to help us a lot here trying to determine if the word was actually here to represent worshiping Jesus Christ. Okay? So let's go ahead and read it. On coming to the house, they saw the child and his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. And they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts and gold, frankincense and myrrh. Okay? So I don't know what the last 2 words necessarily mean, but we're going to go ahead and focus on the 3 noblemen that came to bear gifts to Jesus. And essentially what they did was they bowed down and worshipped him here according to the text. Now, I know, okay, I was just trying to highlight that, not sign up. I know that this is the English translation, and there is a Greek word for what has been translated to worship, which we'll take a look at in just a second. But what I want to do is go ahead and flip between the actual different Bibles here. We are in the New International Version, so let's go to the New English Translation, NET. So it does say worshipped him here as well, and let's go to the King James Version. And it says they worshipped him as well here in the King James Version. And let's go to the EXB, the Explained Bible. They fell down, knelt, fell, and worshipped him. Paid homage to. Interesting that the quotations here say paid homage to, because worshiping and paying homage are 2 completely different things. So is the Greek that is translated here, is the Greek paid homage to, or is the Greek worshipped? Do you understand what I am saying? Now let's go ahead and take a look at a different version. Christian Standardized Bible. They worshipped him. Okay. 21st Century King James Version. They worshipped him. Very, very interesting. So every single Bible I seem to go ahead and click on seems to like the word worship, correct? Is there any thing that is revised? Is there a revised version of a Bible? Let's see here. New American Bible, Revised Edition. Aha! Yes. Of course, when you revise it, it changes the meaning. And when entering the house, they saw a child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. They opened their treasure and offered him gifts and gold. This is a world away from the previous quote. To worship something is to submit your whole entire existence to. To pay homage to something is completely different, correct? I could pay homage to almost anything. I could pay homage to my city I was born in. I could pay homage to my mother. I could pay homage to my influences. I could pay homage to anything, correct? But to go ahead and worship something is a complete opposite thing. That is you taking them as your God, right? Now, what I want to go ahead and do here is understand the Greek of these specific things. As we all know, the Bible's original language was written in Koine Greek. It was not written in Aramaic, which was the original language of Jesus. It was also not written in English. So all the people that are going ahead and taking the Bible and arguing with the Bible and trying to prove things utilizing the English transliterary Bibles, where there's 200 different plus versions of, it's best that you understand the Greek, the original Greek. In the religion of Islam, we have a Quran. There is one standardized version of the Quran for the last 1400 years. The standardized version of the Quran is only in Arabic. And yes, the Quran is translated in English, and the English translations of the Quran can differ. They can differ in translation, which can change the meaning of what you are reading. When you read it in Arabic, it doesn't matter what Quran you pick up in Arabic, it reads the same. The same thing applies to the Holy Bible in Greek. So when we go ahead and read the Bible in Greek, what we understand is we have a flat line message and understanding of what is happening here. So let's go ahead, jump into Matthew 11 here. This is BibleHub.com. It is a pretty cool website. It goes ahead and explains the Greek word, the English word, and their morphology and things of this nature. So let's go ahead and take a look. And having come into the house, they found the child with Mary, the mother of him, and have fallen down, they worshipped him. And having opened the treasures of them, they offered him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. So, the word we're focusing on here is they worshipped. What is this word in Greek? So what do? We copy it, and we go ahead and try to figure out what this word is. Now, before I go ahead and put this into a translator and let's see if it means worship, we are going to go ahead and understand something first, right? We're going to go to the next verse that he quoted, which was 1433. And from 1433, this same exact word is used as here, right? There is no difference in the actual transliterary term. It is the same exact Greek word. Now, when we go to 28:9, the final verse, the individual that I was talking to about this was quoting to me to prove that Jesus was worshipped. The same exact word is used indeed. So all three of the verses that he quoted me in Matthew, right? So Matthew 2:11, Matthew 14:33, and Matthew 28:9 all use the same Greek word for worshipped here. Now, when I spit this word into Google Translate and I understand the origin of it, right? Looking into what this word actually means, the word means to prostrate, okay? It means to bow to or to put your head to the ground to, right? Meaning these individuals in context, if we replace the word worship with prostrate, right? The verse would literally say, they fallen down and prostrated to him. Meaning they fell to the ground and they put their heads to the ground to him, right? That does not mean they worshiped him, okay? For instance, if I'm in trouble with my mother and my mother is yelling at me or I feel shame or whatever the case may be, I might fall down in prostration. Not because I'm worshiping my mom. I worship God Almighty. But in shame or honor or different things like this. If you watch the movie, you ever see that the people, they would go and they would fall down and prostrate to the king, but they believe in God and they worship God. They don't worship the king. The king doesn't claim to be God, but they fall to the ground and prostrate to him because of his magnanimity, right? So the same thing with Jesus here, but on a whole different scale. Imagine going up to Jesus, the Messiah, right? And going ahead and feeling the radiance of this individual's soul, even as a child, a baby. You would do nothing but fall to the ground, right? That doesn't mean that you're worshiping him, right? And the Greek goes ahead and confirms this. The Greek word that is being used here in every single one of these verses is to prostrate, right? They prostrated, right? So it's not to be worshipped. It's very interesting that all of these versions of the Bible here are very, very, very. See, this one too says pay homage. It's very interesting they like using the word worship here. Why are they using the word worship here and not the word prostrate when prostrate is the proper Greek term? How do I know this? Right? How do I know this? Okay. Other than the just basic Google translation, let's go ahead and take a look at John 4:23. John 4:23 is not talking about Jesus here. John 4:23 is talking about the Heavenly Father, right? The creator of everything. Now, when we go ahead and take a look at this passage, it says, but is coming an hour, and now is when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Also, for the Father, such seeks who worship him. Okay? What is the word that is used here for worship? Is, right here. It looks very similar to the word right here. Okay? But it's not. When we pump this into translate, it tells us that the word means worshiping. Correct? This is what the word says it is. Worshiping. Not the other word, which is right here, which means to prostrate. Correct? This word, when talking about the Father, not Jesus, translates directly from Greek to English to worship. But this word that's speaking about Jesus Christ is not talking about worship. It's talking about prostration, which is falling to the ground. They are two completely different things. Worship is dedicating your life and entire existence to something, and prostration is falling down to the ground with your head down. Okay? Going on, we go ahead and see here that the word to worship here, when speaking about the Father, right? When speaking about God and worshiping God, is right here, right? To worship is this word right here. Again, also a different word. When we pump that into translate, it means to worship, okay? So let me go ahead and hide my face, right? And I'll just show you that this means to worship. This means worshiping. And the term that was used with Jesus means prostration, right? To prostrate. And these are completely different words, okay? To show you they're completely different words, these are the words one by one that was translated, and this is what they mean. So I'm not trying to go ahead and change the definitions or meanings. I actually went to go ahead and notate and see, when talking about the Father in the Holy Bible, does it say prostrate when it talks about the Father? Or does it say worship in specific? And why is there this lateral between the two where Jesus, right, even though it says prostrate in the original Greek, why are so many versions of the Bible implying that he was being worshipped and these men didn't just fall to the ground in prostration? Because the Greek, if you understand the original language of the Bible, and Greek, which is a lot more clear than English in language, right? It is a more clear and poetic language than English. When you take a look at the Greek, you can literally see it means to fall down, right? It means to fall down and prostrate. It does not mean to worship. But then when we take a look at the Father's saying, when it tells us to worship the Father, instead of them, the translation still says worship, as it said worship for Jesus, but the Greek word is completely different. And the Greek word for worshiping the Father is worship, not prostrate, right? And this is something that I wanted to go ahead and take a look at. This is something that was bothering me because I'm very, very sick of the deception of this world, right? There are over 200 plus different versions of the standardized Bible today in English. There are over 2,000 plus sections of Christianity today. And this is because the unclarity of people understanding the original Greek and translating it properly. The term worship was never used with Jesus' name in the Holy Bible. The word worship is only used with the Father and the Father alone. That is it. That is it. Now, when we go ahead and take a look at all of the different standardized versions of the Bible, they do imply that the word prostrate, when talking about Jesus in 3 different verses, is talking about worshiping Jesus. Correct? Not prostrating to Jesus. But the word prostrate, as we all know, has a completely different meaning as worship. Prostrate means to lie oneself flat on the ground, face down, especially in reverence or submission, which means these people, or the wise noblemen that came to go ahead and see Jesus Christ and bear gifts to him and his mother, these individuals just had a lot of reverence and respect for him. Why do you believe that they were worshiping him when the Greek term actually means to prostrate to? Thank you guys so much for coming in today. Go ahead and leave your comments down below. Please be respectful. Let me know what you think about this. If you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're atheist, whatever the case may be, everyone is open to conversation here. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. God bless you all, and keep us protected from the deception of this earth. Thank you. Bye-bye.